Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. The Speak Now or Forever Hold Your Peace wedding moment of Willow and Drew. According to Monday, July 28th General Hospital teasers, viewers will see Willow Tate and Drew Kane's Speak Now or Forever Hold Your Peace wedding. Let's talk about what's coming up in Port Charles, since Liesl Albrecht will also receive a surprise. Molly Lansing Davis is going to accuse Cody Bell of wanting her hands all over him at the Metro Court pool. Cody won't understand why Molly suddenly turned against him because he will be lectured for asking for extra sunscreen. The true cause of this is Christina Corinthos Davis, who has been trying to put a stop to this affair and poisoning Molly's mind with misgivings. Speaking of Christina, on Monday's episode of GH, she will confess to Michael Corinthos. It appears that Christina will acknowledge that she accidentally targeted Ava Jerome and almost killed Rick Lansing and Elizabeth Baldwin. Though she might claim that Rick is not so innocent and gripe about his blackmail scheme with Ava, Michael won't know what could be worse than Christina nearly eradicating innocent people. Jocelyn Jacks will then be called into Jack Brennan's office to discuss any outstanding matters between them. Despite Jocelyn's displeasure, Brennan expects her to remain out of their friendship with Carly Spencer. Jocelyn will also be given a new assignment by Brennan, which is most likely related to the Professor Henry Hank Dalton inquiry. Carly would appear appalled at the thought of Jason Morgan digging up Britt Westbourne's remains. Jason might worry that it's the only way to determine for sure if Britt is indeed dead. However, Jason might put Carly through a grilling session and tell her that he plans to talk to Albrecht first. Jason can't get rid of the sense that Britt is still alive since he saw her for himself in the airport in Paris. The bride will appear extremely hesitant as she slowly walks down the aisle at Drew and Willow's wedding. When he grabs Willow's hand and grins at her before they exchange vows, Drew won't notice. After considering everything, Nina Reeves will question whether Willow will truly wed Drew in light of her knowledge. When Willow learned of Drew and Nina's intense rendezvous from last summer, she was furious, but she also realized that she had blown up her entire life for this man. If Willow doesn't get married, what will she have left? Willow will also need to consider the fact that she intended to exploit her marriage as a means of regaining her children. Nevertheless, Willow will appear to be having difficulty concealing her disdain, so there is no assurance that she will be able to consummate her marriage. We'll see if Willow objects on her own or if she ends up marrying Drew when Lucy Coe gets to the part of the ceremony that says, "Speak now or forever hold your peace." In any case, when the wedding is finished, Liesl will be in for a surprise. Jason will approach Albrecht for the aforementioned interrogation, so she will be surprised when he bombards her with inquiries about Britt. As this plot develops, Jason will receive some exciting resurrection updates, according to General Hospital spoilers, so we'll keep you updated on what he finds. Why we're happy to see Britt and Liesl return to General Hospital. It doesn't matter. Get 2 General Hospital bitches back instead of just one, and you'll have twice as much fun. Britt, Liesl Albrecht's daughter, has returned to the real world, and Liesl herself is back in Port Charles. There are 3 reasons for us to rejoice. Liesl, the mother of all bad girls, was an amazing villain. Robin was abducted by her. She plotted alongside Faison. We still don't know why she lied about Nathan, but she did it nevertheless. Additionally, she slaughtered karaoke singing. Britt thought she was a terrible mother, yet they managed to get along. Even though Liesl has changed, she is still a fairly awesome badass. We appreciated how honest she was with Rocco about his peculiar birth story. And how she quickly saw that Willow was acting more strangely than most people. Dr. Albrecht, welcome back. Chip off the old mom. Britt did raise Becco for the first 7 months of his life after stealing the embryos of Lulu and Dante. However, she was Brad's good friend and fell deeply in love with Jason, who is somewhat of a horrible guy himself. However, until Britt passed away, they were better together than they were apart. Second chances, it appears that she did not die. Britt is apparently still alive. She was sensed by Jason. How? Heck, her mother has accomplished more in the field of science. Furthermore, she would hardly be the first person in soap opera land or Port Charles to rise from the grave. We, the audience, are once again on the edge of our seats when Britt and Liesl return. GH Spoilers Weekly Update, Willow's Fury, Jason alerts Albrecht, Emma and Geoplan. according to General Hospital teasers for the week of July 28th, there will be some surprises. Willow Tate will not be marrying Drew Kane, despite the fact that she walks down the wedding aisle. Liesl Albrecht is alerted by Jason Morgan. Additionally, Emma Scorpio Drake and Gio Palmieri strategize. Drew Kane punished first. Let's talk about Drew and Willow, who are about to tie the knot. Curtis Ashford, however, informed her of Drew's liaison with Nina Reeves. After Nina spoke clean, Willow's mind was reeling. Willow prepares to perform and makes her way down the aisle. But it's obvious that she won't wed Drew, will she? Would Willow take him for what he is after marrying him? Or is she going to hurl him at the altar? In any event, Willow needs to examine herself to determine who is to blame for her loss of custody. Elizabeth Liz Baldwin's generosity, fans observed as she extended her assistance to Willow and Drew. The nurse will need a somewhere to stay after Willow lashes out at Drew in front of everyone. She can't really crash at the mansions of Corinthos or Quartermain. Allowing Willow to remain for a bit until she works things out would be very Liz-like. Additionally, it is mentioned that Rick Lansing acquires a new customer. Is Willow here? General Hospital spoilers for the week of July 28th indicate that Michael Corinthos must make a difficult choice. Is Willow involved in this? Everyone said that she couldn't be with the children as long as she was with Drew. But whether she is with Drew, Willow is unstable. That has been confirmed by her recent conduct. Willow may become agitated if Michael continues to deny her access to the children. Fans will also witness Jason's connection with Liesl throughout the week of July 28, 2025. Jason will tell her what he witnessed at the airport, of course. Could Liesl work with Jason to uncover the truth about Britt Westbourne, or does she have any knowledge of this? Jason gives Anna Devane information later in the week. Nina is comforted by Portia Robinson. Martin Gray learns some intriguing information. Felicia Scorpio makes an effort to assist Lucas Jones. Danny Morgan is questioned by Dante Falconeri. Expect Emma and Gio to plan as well. Carly had just spent a few minutes at the Metro Court pool, meticulously preparing for what she believed to be a private reservation for a customer, when Jack Brennan showed up with his characteristic cool assurance. His next statement was that he was the client, even though his appearance wasn't totally surprising. They had the entire pool to themselves. Carly, smiling and barefoot, took off her heels and sat next to Jack, plunging her toes into the refreshing pool as the midday sun glinted off the water. The sharp pop of the bottle still reverberated slightly in the warm air as he handed her a glass of champagne. "So, what's the occasion?" she inquired in jest, with a twinkle in his eye that suggested anything more than a simple social call. Jack leaned in her direction. He acknowledged, "We haven't seen each other much lately." "I missed you." Carly's typical defenses were breached by that vulnerability. She whispered, "I missed you too," and they shared a slow, purposeful kiss that lingered rather than ending in a fleeting glance. Jack inquired about Carly's world as the champagne began to settle in their systems and the laughter turned into a conversation. She told him everything, or at least everything that wasn't too sensitive or classified. She talked candidly about Sasha's abrupt departure with Daisy and how she and Michael were conflicted about not knowing if or when they would see each other again. Jack listened carefully, never interjecting, just allowing her to release her burden. Carly described how she had thought about phoning him for assistance but decided against it. She stated, "I didn't want you to be pulled into something risky, particularly if Sunny was the reason Daisy was being singled out." Jack grasped her hand and met her eyes, saying, "You've already broken the rules for me too many times. Carly, please come to me if something is off." He later had to take a moment to check in with work, even if all he could do was listen. He couldn't give her specifics when he got back, but he did give her something more intimate, his reflection. "I believe that my inability to share my work with others is the reason I never had a true personal life. But it helps with you. Simply being with you." Things were far less romantic back at the WSB headquarters. When Vaughn and Jocelyn arrived, Jack's office was deserted. According to Vaughn, Jack most certainly took the afternoon off, most likely with Carly. Joss was irritated by that. She made the sarcastic comment that it would probably be against HR policy for agents to date their agents' mothers. Vaughn instantly silenced her. You don't want Jack Brennan to become your enemy. He became the WSB chief after being a felon. He has influence. Are you implying that he can get away with anything? She insisted. Vaughn remained still. I'm saying don't pick a fight you can't win if you want a career in the WSB. Anna Devane and Dante were discussing Jocelyn in depth in her office. Anna grew more and more certain that Vaughn had been chosen to be her partner and that Jack had enlisted Joss as an agent. Dante gasped. Is my sister a spy? Joss's age was advantageous to her, according to Anna, because no one would suspect a college student. She disclosed how Brennan had probably tested Joss by using her passion with learning the truth about Dex's death by Cyrus Renaud, giving her leads, and then hiring her after she demonstrated her abilities. Dante was enraged. She was even younger than Joss when she was recruited, Anna reminded him, adding, he used her grief to turn her into an agent. He most likely told her that she was unique. That she had the power to change things. They told me the same thing. Dante inquired as to when Joss may have been schooled, and the time frame, her alleged journey to Easter Island, clicked. Everything had been a front. Joss even ruined Emma's research to get the internship with Dalton, Anna said, proving that Dalton was much more than just a pharmaceutical consultant. She was also concerned that Joss was unaware of the long-term consequences of living with WSB. Dante obviously shared that dread, having lost his spouse to the job. Do you believe Brennan approached Joss by using Carly? He inquired. Anna hesitated. I'm not sure, Dante said, but he couldn't stop himself. Perhaps Carly ought to be aware. No, Anna firmly replied. Joss's cover is blown when she tells Carly. Additionally, we still don't know what Dalton's true situation is. Lucy, meanwhile, was using her usual tactics on the set of Home and Heart. She told Flora, the host, that Brooke Lynn would be all right. Warmly greeting Brooke Lynn, Flora unintentionally brought up her mother, which made Brooke Lynn tense. She subtly acknowledged that Lucy and she were merely standing in for her mother, who had resigned as Deception's spokesman. Lucy was planning another surprise backstage. As a last-minute addition to the piece, she presented Lois, the original face of Deception. Brooke Lynn was taken aback. Lois apologized in a quiet voice. Lucy informed me that you knew. I apologize. When Brooke Lynn attempted to move aside, Lucy shoved her and Lois in front of the camera, leaving Flora to scream off camera. Nevertheless, Brooke Lynn remained calm while she and Lois promoted the novel Youth Truth Serum. Lucy was thrilled to declare that they had sold out at the conclusion of the segment. As Lucy begged Brooke Lynn to let the past go, Flora hurried off in annoyance. Meanwhile, Lois talked about how much she missed her daughter and how proud she was of her. However, Brooke Lynn refused to give her mother a glance. Rather, she went to Lucy and threatened to show her how much she had learned from Tracy if she did it again. She then turned to her mother and declared, "You're fired," before leaving. Jason Morgan stood at a Paris airport in a different area of the world, attempting to board a plane that had just cancelled. He had caught a glimpse of a woman who resembled Britt Westbourne running to board through the glass. Jason was denied a seat on the subsequent flight to New York, where he sat silently, troubled by recollections. He recalled their time spent together on the run, how she told him about her Huntington's sickness, and how their relationship ended when he accepted Carly as his wife. His thoughts were focused on her as the jet flew over the Atlantic. However, Britt, or the lady who resembled her, was no longer in Paris. A tall man in a fitted coat met her as she got out of a dark vehicle in Dubrovnik, Croatia. "Good to see you again," he said. She smiled slightly at him. "It feels good to be back." The day came to an end back in Port Charles. Anna told Dante in her office that she would take care of the Joss situation from here. Dante appeared exhausted. "Do you think you would have left if someone had tried to get you out when you were her age?" Anna didn't respond. Carly and Jack leaned toward each other at the pool, their bond growing stronger. Their worlds had not yet collided, at least not yet. Joss promised Vaughn in Jack's office that she would maintain her concentration. He reminded her that their life depended on the mission. His phone then rang. In the shadows of that European city, Jason's ghost came back to life, and whatever secrets Brit's lookalike might have had were one step closer to being exposed. The courier stopped in Paris, he said, but now he's headed to Dubrovnik. Brit is still living. I simply must be certain. Speak now. The teaser video for Drew and Willow's wedding at All Saints begins with the couple standing at the altar in front of Lucy. There are many individuals in the church who would have something to say, and Lucy, who is posing as the officiant, is heard saying, "Speak now, or forever hold your peace." Ava, who appears to be the cat that captured the canary, is shown on screen first, followed by a distressed Nina, who had a heated argument with her daughter in the bridal suite just before the wedding, sitting next to an anxious Albrecht. The camera finally cuts to Drew, the naive groom who is unaware that his fiancée is now aware that he had an affair with her mother. Then, as the camera moves up to her face in a close-up of the bride and groom's intertwined hands, Willow slowly removes her fingers from Drew's. This isn't the same beaming, excited soon-to-be bride as she was getting ready for her wedding a few hours prior to Curtis barging in and shocking her with a huge revelation. She is actually trembling a lot, but is it because of fear or rage? Will Willow and Drew actually get married? Or will she reveal the affair between Drew and Nina in a highly visible way? The advertising video then cuts to Jason using his phone in hide and seek. Anna is heard questioning, "You think Brit staged her own death?" in a voiceover while the camera focuses on his phone screen, where he is using Spider Finder to hunt for Dubrovnik, the Croatian city that the Brit doppelganger he spotted at the airport was traveling to. The picture then cuts to a very much alive Brit lounging on her sofa and staring at her computer while Jason remarks, "Brit's still alive, I just have to be sure." Suddenly, there's a tap on the door, and Brit is clearly not expecting a visitor based on her shocked expression. Has Jason located his former partner in Croatia? And what does Brit's Five Poppies shirt, which features the same logo as the tote bag she carried in the Paris airport, mean? Rumors were rife in Port Charles's hallways, and a storm was predicted for today. As he broke the news to Tracy Quartermaine, who was defiant, Martin Gray stood calmly in the great drawing room of the Quartermaine home. Refusing to lower her guard, she sipped from a cut glass tumbler while sitting close to the hearth with a knowing smirk. Without turning to face him, Tracy questioned, "You think revenge is circling back?" "Martin, darling, I've outlasted worse threats than vague promises." Martin raised a brow. "This isn't a promise. It's a prediction. And you'd be wise to treat it like gospel." But Tracy wasn't fazed. She leaned back, scoffing. "You keep playing the same cards expecting me to fold. But I never do I?" She turned to face him. "Whatever you're brewing with Sidwell, it won't work. I'm still standing, and I intend to stay that way." Meanwhile, across town at the police precinct, Lucas Jones was pacing the room, visibly rattled. He'd just returned from a frantic visit to the edge of town, chasing a lead that fizzled out. He cornered Detective Harrison Chase, who'd just come off a call. "It's Marco," Lucas said, catching his breath. "He's gone." Chase frowned. "You mean missing?" "Disappeared," Lucas replied grimly. "No phone calls, no texts. His dorm's untouched, his car's still parked where he left it 2 days ago. Something's wrong. Really wrong." Chase crossed his arms. "You think this is tied to Sonny?" Lucas nodded. "I do. And it's only a matter of time before Ada Turner uses this as ammunition." Across the street at the courthouse, Justine Turner was already preparing her next legal assault. Her office lights were dim, her laptop open to an array of reports. Her focus narrowed on Sonny Corinthos' name. The disappearance of Marco Rios was a gift, a crack in Sonny's armor, and she planned to pry it open. In the shadows of the Metro Court, Jens Sidwell was on a burner phone. His voice was tight, emotions barely held in check as he spoke to someone on the other end. "I'll do what I have to," Sidwell said, his words clipped. "Just make sure he stays safe. I'm willing to play Sonny's game, for now." The person on the line gave no reply that could be heard, but Sidwell's next words hinted at an uneasy deal forming. "You'll get what you want," he said. "But once Marco's out of this alive, I'm done being anyone's pawn." Still, his tone betrayed him. The man wasn't trustworthy. Anyone who had watched him operate knew Sidwell's promises were only as good as his next move. Whatever he was planning, it was layered in manipulation and danger. While Sidwell played double agent, Laura Collins sat in her office with deepening concern creasing her brow. Marco's vanishing act, especially if tied to Sonny, was a political nightmare. She rubbed her temples before calling Sonny directly. When he arrived, his face was calm, unreadable. "I know what you're going to ask," Sonny said before she could speak. "But I can't give you answers that'll help you sleep at night." "I'm not looking for comfort," Laura replied, standing her ground. "I need the truth. Marco Rios, he's a kid. If you're involved," Sonny cut in, "then it's best you don't know." "You're asking me to protect you at the cost of my office," Laura said coldly. "No," Sonny murmured. "I'm asking you to protect what matters more. Marco is leverage. Someone's playing a longer game." At General Hospital, Elizabeth Baldwin found Willow Tate sitting in the recovery garden, her hands nervously fidgeting with the hem of her blouse. "I didn't think I'd be this anxious," Willow confessed, glancing at the wedding band she wore on a necklace. "But I feel like something's waiting to unravel." Elizabeth offered a comforting smile. "Cold feet before a wedding is normal." "It's not just the wedding," Willow admitted. "It's everything. The custody case, the chance to get Wiley and Amelia back, it's all riding on this one moment. Marrying Drew means restoring stability. That's all I want." But stability was already cracking. In the halls outside the hospital's administrative wing, Isaiah Gannon had cornered Portia Robinson. His jaw was tight, his posture rigid. "You're going to let him walk all over your family?" he asked sharply. "I don't have a choice," Portia replied. "Yes, you do," Isaiah insisted. "You fight. You dig your heels in and you don't let Drew Kane bury your people. Because if you don't, he will. Piece by piece." Portia said nothing at first, but her expression changed, firmed into something colder, steelier. "Then let's see if Drew can handle a war." That war was already creeping closer. At the Savoy, Curtis Ashford was seated in a dark corner, sipping his drink and pondering the news he hadn't yet shared. Nina Reeves and Drew Kane had betrayed Willow behind her back. And Curtis? He'd finally seen enough to step out of the shadows and speak up. Later that evening, in a dimly lit back room, he found Willow alone and thoughtful. "Can we talk?" Curtis asked. She nodded hesitantly. "What's this about?" He looked her in the eye, no longer willing to dance around the truth. "It's about Drew. And Nina. And what you don't know about them." Meanwhile, Sidwell stood by the docks, watching the waves crash against the pylons. His phone buzzed with a message, "Time's running out. You know what to do." He pocketed the phone, heart pounding. At the same moment, Tracy Quartermain was already putting pieces together. Martin Gray had pushed too hard. Now she was pushing back. "Let's see what secrets you've buried, Martin," she muttered, dialing a private investigator's number. "It's time I leveled the playing field." Back at the police station, Chase paced in front of a whiteboard covered in photographs and maps. Marco's face was circled in red. Strings connected his dorm room to Sonny's shipping yard and then further down the waterfront. "We're missing something," Chase muttered. Lucas stepped up beside him. "Or someone's making sure we never find it." At Sonny's warehouse, in a locked room behind reinforced steel, Marco Rios sat quietly, his face bruised but his spirit unbroken. The man who'd been watching him offered food, but Marco refused. "I'm not afraid of him," Marco said softly. "You should be," the guard replied. But Marco only smiled. "He's not the one who should be scared." As the clock ticked forward, one truth became clearer in Port Charles: every alliance was temporary. Every promise was a trap. And no one, not even Sonny Corinthos, could escape the storm rising on all sides. By the time the sun rose, someone would be exposed, and someone else would lose everything. General Hospital's Ryan Pavey, "I've been on some really crazy adventures. When it comes to taking some downtime, many of us have certain things we like to do in order to relax. The soap stars do as well, like former General Hospital fave Ryan Pavey. The actor recently posted a video filled with various adventures he's taken on his motorcycle and shared, "Some of my favorite adventures, and I've been on some really crazy adventures, have been on top of a bike." He went on to state, "All the cliches that you've heard about motorcycling in some way, shape or form are true. If you ride for long enough you'll experience all of them yourself. You'll get to ride off into the sunset, you'll get that feeling of freedom, you'll get that feeling of speed. They're all true at the end of the day. It doesn't matter how many miles I've ridden, I always want more." He then asked his followers, "What adventure should I go on next?" Many of them wrote into the comments to list their various locations, and why the actor should head their way, and one of his former Port Charles castmates had an idea or two of her own. Go across India, Finola Hughes aka Anna suggested, or Australia. But riding a motorcycle isn't the only thing that Pavey does to relax. He also posted another video to give fans a front row seat into his West Coast therapy. The reel showed the actor near his truck, holding a surfboard. And after making his way down the stairs to the beach, he hit the waves. So, whether you climb on a motorcycle or ride the surf, taking some time to just enjoy your surroundings goes a long way. Curtis tells Willow that Drew and Nina slept together. Drew and Willow's wedding day, and the bride-to-be got an earful from Curtis about her mother. Nina also shared her concerns about her daughter with Ava, and after Lucas and Marco took a big step in their relationship, he got into a huge fight with his sister, Carly. When families fight at the Metro Court pool, Carly confronted Sonny about kidnapping Marco, wondering if it had been wise to escalate the tension with Sidwell by abducting the other man's son. Reminding her that he had to send a message, so his family and business weren't perceived as being vulnerable, Sonny turned the tables on his ex, questioning why Carly didn't trust his judgment, and shocked her when he asked why Lucas turned him in to the police. Michael then arrived at the pool for Wiley's swim lesson, and Sonny explained to his son and Carly that he'd made a deal with Sidwell that would keep his family safe. He also apologized for how his lifestyle has hurt Michael, speculating that perhaps things would have been different for Michael and Willow if he hadn't gotten hurt. However, Michael thought that their divorce was inevitable, and all he could do now was protect Wiley and Amelia from Willow and Drew. Michael also told Carly that he was worried about how Wiley would handle Drew and Willow's marriage, a fear that was well-founded, because the little boy did not react well when his dad told him the news. "No! I don't want Mommy to marry Uncle Drew." Wiley pouted. "I want Mommy to still be married to you." Meanwhile, up in Marco's hotel room, Marco and Lucas woke up after spending the night together for the first time and discussed their growing feelings for one another. Struggling to find the words to convey how terrified he was while Marco was missing, Lucas revealed, "If you hadn't come back, I would have been much more upset than I probably should be at this point in our relationship." Embarrassed by his word vomit, Lucas quickly tried to backpedal, but Marco reassured him that he felt the same and had known since the night they met in Miami that there was something special about him. "That's why I wasn't scared. I don't give up easy. And now that I found you, I won't let anything keep us apart," he promised. The two headed down to the pool, but upon spotting Sonny, Marco suggested they return to his room. Lucas, however, had a few things to say to his former brother-in-law, but Sonny promptly shut him down. "You don't know who the players are or what's at stake," Sonny warned before exiting the pool. "Next time you're worried about Marco, do us all a favor and don't involve the cops." Frustrated, Lucas then turned his attention to Carly, butting heads with his sister about her keeping Sonny's secrets and turning a blind eye to his actions. Agreeing with Sonny, Carly told Lucas that he never should have called the cops and accused her brother of overreacting to the situation because of his rebound relationship. "But you're too blind to see it because Marco is the first guy that you've fallen for since Brad. And that, my brother, is all you see," she spat out before storming off. Back upstairs, Marco opened the door to his room to find Sonny on the other side. "Your father got you into this situation, I'm the reason you're not still in it," Sonny informed the attorney, advising Marco to stay out of his way. Protector mode on her way to meet her mother. Trina ran into Kai at the coffee shop. Kai told her that his feelings for her haven't changed despite their split. But Trina couldn't get past Kai's betrayal, especially after she learned that he was attending Drew and Willow's wedding. Portia was looking over her resignation letter in her office when Curtis arrived. She'd invited Trina to meet her so she could explain everything, but Curtis asked his wife to give him one more day to neutralize Drew before she resigned. Portia worried that once Drew and Willow were married, he'd be even more hellbent to have her change Michael's blood test results. Curtis promised his wife that he was going to make one last-ditch effort to save her career, even if he had to betray a friend to do so. If it works, and Drew doesn't have Willow to protect, then he might not have use for us, Curtis pointed out. When Trina arrived, Curtis covered the real reason for Portia's invitation, claiming they'd been worried about their daughter and wanted to see how she was doing after splitting with Kai. As Trina lamented that Kai still refused to see how he did anything wrong, Curtis suggested that one day, Kai would realize you sometimes have to make compromises for people you care about, speaking about both himself and Kai as he shared a knowing look with Portia. After Curtis's abrupt departure, Portia urged Trina to do whatever she felt was right for her as far as reconciling with Kai or not, and to remember that people are flawed and sometimes don't live up to their own expectations for themselves. I certainly have, she admitted to her daughter, shuffling her resignation letter into a folder on her desk so Trina wouldn't see it. So, who am I to judge? Wedding prep. Alexis went to Drew's house to take Scout to All Saints ahead of the wedding. While they waited for the flower girl to finish getting ready, Alexis shared her concerns that the wedding was yet another significant change in Scout's life lately. Drew promised Sam's mother that once the family moved to DC, he would keep the connection between Scout and her grandmother, and Alexis urged him to give it some time before he made any permanent decisions, noting that all Scout wanted was to see her father happy. After Alexis left, Kai arrived to deliver Drew's passport. As they discussed the romantic honeymoon Drew had planned for Willow in the south of France, Kai revealed that he and Trina had split up because she couldn't get over the fact that he had told Drew that her parents had been planning to set him up. Before taking off for the church, Kai wished Drew and his bride to be good luck. Willow has been through so much lately, but that's what'll make this wedding day all that much sweeter, the groom declared. Bridal blowout in the bridal suite at All Saints, Willow happily prepared for her wedding day with help from her mother, Aunt Liesel, and Elizabeth. A worried Nina tried to delude herself into believing that her daughter was fine, but Albrecht pointed out that Willow was anything but. Eventually becoming so overwhelmed by her fears that Willow had been the one stalking Sasha, Nina made an excuse to step out of the room. Alexis soon arrived with Scout, who gave Willow a framed photo of them as a wedding gift. Touched by the gift, Willow told her soon-to-be stepdaughter that she could never replace Sam as Scout's mom but would always be there as someone who loved and cared for her. Meanwhile, Alexis and Albrecht bonded over having mutually lost a daughter, and Ava arrived at the church to find her best friend in hysterics. As Nina explained the reasons why Sasha left town with Daisy, Ava brushed it off, saying it was a wise move considering their connection to Sunny. She was shocked when a teary Nina sobbed that she suspected Willow had been stalking Daisy. Ava thought that seemed like a stretch, but Nina wasn't convinced. More of a stretch than some mobster goon taking the time to switch a newborn's onesie to send a message, she questioned, adding that when Willow heard Sasha and Daisy had left Port Charles, she smiled, like her plan worked. Angry that Drew had pushed Willow that far, Nina declared that she had to put an end to the relationship right then and there. As her mother, I can't stand by and let this go on any longer. I'm done. I'm finally done, she shouted, stalking out of the church. Curtis beat Nina to the bridal suite, however. Although caught off guard to see him, Willow figured he was there to talk to her about Drew blackmailing Portia. Instead, Curtis filled Willow in on Drew and Nina's affair. Declared Curtis, last summer, when you and Drew were falling in love, before and after the 4th of July, Drew was sleeping with your mother. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.